Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. What's happening? Are you having a very, very good Tuesday? What is going on here now? So the scout report that we did earlier, looking into whether or not Disasi is going to be a viable target for United, and I think the general consensus is probably not, in all honesty. I think there's a lot better out there than him, and perhaps we should be looking at those ones that are a lot better out there than him. Just give us 2 seconds, get me notes. They've disappeared. There they are. So you're starting to see United transfer targets now move on elsewhere, and potentially legitimate transfer targets. Like, I think we're going to talk about Timber in a sec. I think Timber was a legitimate transfer target. Some of the others on this list, maybe not as strong as others that are on the list. But I think Kim Min-jae was absolutely someone, I think in reality, that we were talking to, or at least we were looking at. I think being real about it. I think that was how it was all working out. Let me know any questions and all that sort of stuff in the comments. Direct to me says Disasi is average. Yeah, that's my vibe on him, in all honesty. I think that there's a good chance he is a little bit on the average side, and probably not exactly what we need. Now, the news that we're reacting to today is Ornstein, who is, for Arsenal stuff especially, as good as it gets. And he says Arsenal are working on a deal to sign Timber. They've made an opening offer worth 30. Ajax want somewhere in the region of 50, but optimism a compromise will be reached. Personal terms thought to be in place. Now, if you cast your mind back 12 months, we did this exact same dance with Arsenal, with Ajax, for Lisandro Martinez. I wonder if United are allowing others to set the price before swooping in and going getting it done. I would hope that's what's happening. I don't know if that's what's happening. I can only hope that is what's happening. And Red here says Martinez over Timber, not bothered if we miss out. The thing is, Timber would be coming in, I believe, playing right back and being a ball playing right back. That's going to be someone that allows our system to actually develop a little bit. So that's what I say is happening with this, or I believe could be happening with this. Romano says Arsenal want Timber as a concrete target, as per David Ornstein. He's top of that list, but the list also includes Mo Simakan. Ajax won't accept 30 for Timber as they want a bigger fee. Talks continue as player is keen on the move. Lavia. So Lavia is an interesting one. Apparently Arsenal are also looking at Lavia. We did a scout report on him. I think he'd be very useful for United. I think that would be... Hang on, Rob Delaney here saying, how can United sign players until the no ownership is announced? Because we can. Because we're a business and businesses get sold and bought all the time. And you have things in place for the continuation of business should that, especially when there's something as truncated as a transfer window, which is so critical, mission critical to the club, you would have targets agreed in place regardless of who is the owner. Now, let's say we get bought out today and it's finalised today, which isn't going to happen, then there's a chance that the new owner could make something happen very quickly by just saying, I would like us to do X, Y, and Z. So you can always change it, but that doesn't mean you can't. Like, we haven't got an owner. Why are we selling season tickets? Do you see how daft that sounds? We haven't figured out who our owner is. Are we still going on pre-season tour? Of course we are. You know, there's still some things happening, and I do feel like things are happening. So on Lavia then, it seems like Arsenal are in advanced talks for Lavia. I think he's a really good player. I think he makes a lot of sense for Arsenal. I think he makes a lot of sense for United. Southampton hoping to get a record fee for him. United's priority supposedly is Mount, according to Romano. But one point, once he joins his new club, the buyback clause that City have got is no longer valid. And it's no longer valid in 2024, so City lose control of their player. It's only valid while he's at Southampton. And to be honest, the buyback clause has been massively over-egged. Now, there might be an anti-United clause in there, because I think City are sad enough to do that. However, all a first refusal is hey, United have offered us 50 million for him. Do you want to match it? And if City say no, well, then he goes to United for 50 million. That's it. I think he's a really good player, Lavia. Like I said, if you've not seen the scout report on it, go and check out the scout report that we did. Job's a good one. City also have a percentage sell-on clause. So, another one, Declan Rice. Now, I don't really think Declan was a major target for United, probably because of the absolute carnage of what West Ham supposedly want for him. I think Declan's a good midfielder, and if he was available for good midfielder price, I'd be saying, yeah, let's go get him. But he's not available for good midfielder price. He's available for, oh my God, we've signed the best player in the world price, and he ain't that. He's good, not world class. So Arsenal apparently have made a second improved offer for Declan Rice, 75 million plus add-ons, and honestly, West Ham should cash in because they're not. Well, they might get better than that, but he's certainly not worth that. West Ham expect 90 million, which, or they want more than the 90 million they're being offered, which is 75 plus 15 in add-ons. Honestly, how they can have a straight face and demand more than that is fucking bananas. And maybe for this reason, they're expecting Manchester City to enter the race for him later this week. So Manchester City entering the race could bump it up. Did you see the talk yesterday that Haaland's on about 865 grand a week? This is the madness about what's going on at City, is that whatever is out there isn't necessarily what the truth is, and what's being declared isn't necessarily what the truth is. What's my reaction to Kim Min-jae going Bayern? I think we talked about this yesterday morning. I don't like it. I think he'd have been perfect for United. Bayern obviously threw money at it, so it didn't come down to the release fee cost next month. Bill O'Reilly says, Glazers holding United back again from doing early business in the summer following Champions League qualification. Who would have thought? It's what it is, isn't it? It's the one, isn't it? Amaya says it's because they have Europa League football and they don't need to sell him. Maybe it is a little bit of that, they don't need to sell him, but the pricing's absolutely bonkers, and that's why I see people looking across the rest of Europe and going finding far better players for that sort of money. Witterbird says, Steve, will United not go to Evan Ferguson? I think once he signed his new contract, that probably took him off the market for a little bit. What do I expect with Karen Brady? She sold her husband twice. Huh? Richard says, what do I think Saudi are slowly trying to build that Super League? No, I think they might be trying to do something different to that no one's actually thought of. Am I still in touch with Romano? Yes. Why is he taunting United fans, saying United remain interested everywhere? Realistically, we're probably interested in a few players, but we are the biggest fan base, and it brings in views, doesn't it, when you add United into the title? According to the Financial Times, a source close to the Glazers, a source at Financial Times, talking about the Glazers, says the Glazers are very slow decision makers. No shit. Who are deliberate in how they think things. Joel takes forever on any decision he makes, and this is a huge decision. It's not that huge a decision. Here's the script. You put nothing down, you walk away with $1 billion, and you shut the fuck up. How about that? Not much of a decision to make there, I don't think. Gary Neville says, ownership situation is embarrassing, but that's what they've done. Drag everything out, always in the best interest. Fans not being updated by owners on ownership sale. Not good enough, but it's fitting with how they've operated for 20 years now. Fucking bang on. Absolutely bang on. Zahir says, why aren't we looking at Ward-Prowse? Don't know. Dennis, was the bid for Mount last week not true? I think it was, yeah. I think as was reported at the time, there was a bid went in, but Chelsea decided they wanted more for him. And you can hardly blame them with all of the money that they're getting for all of their players that are going to Saudi. Thoughts on New Zealand and the Qatar racial issue? I've not seen that. I saw that there was one, and I saw the one that was involved Ireland. Who were Ireland playing? Can't remember who Ireland were playing. I believe there was something said to something in one of the Irish teams, and I'm glad they walked off. Good. Bowman says, I DM'd you on Insta the other day after you said on here about a Whoop promo code. DM me again. I get tons of DMs, and if I don't see it first time, it's gone. Kevin says, always like to see Steve pop up live when I'm in work. Bit of skiving, can't fault it. Liam says, United AGM on the 28th of June. My prediction, you'll see transfers speed straight up and potentially the sale decision finalised. Well, let's hope so. Do I genuinely think McTominay is a good player? I don't think he's good enough for United. I think he's fine in the Premier League, probably. Am I worried about Gvardiol going City? Nope, because there's nothing I can do about that. And it's probably going to happen, isn't it? Tony says, why is Marcus Thuram not linked with anyone? Well, he has been linked with United. Obviously, there's nothing concrete come out about that, but he has been linked with United. Jockey says, good morning, Steve. Hope all is well. Yeah, it's all right, I guess. Going out for a run after this. David says, what's the odds Saudi will create the Super League? I don't think they're going to do the Super League, in all honesty. I think they're going to try and do their own thing. We have seen people throw money for a season or two at different leagues. If you look at what the MLS was in the 70s, oh my God. Like, the likes of Pele and Bobby Moore and George Best and Johan Cruyff, there was all sorts kicking off in the MLS in the 70s. They threw money at it in a big way. It didn't really stick for them. We've seen Japan do it in the early 90s. You've seen America do it again recently, but I think it sort of worked, but not because of that. We've seen it in Russia, we've seen it in China. So it's not exactly unusual to see this. But I think what the guy at UEFA said, I can't remember his name now. The guy at UEFA said, look, they should be putting this money into academy and coaching and this, that, and the other. And he's absolutely right. They're going to pay several players billions. And if you spent billions on academies and infrastructure and this, that, and the other, I think you would make it a success. I think you would. Metal Fly says Saudi might join UEFA if they have enough big players. Do you understand what UEFA means? Kefrin, that was it. Thank you. Gray says, why aren't we looking at a 6? We have nobody who can do Casemiro's job. I think we are. Yeah, I think we are. Red Lad says, can we offload Greenwood to the Saudi League? I imagine that conversation's being had. Whether or not he's interested in that, I don't know, but I imagine that conversation's being had. Naveen says, Kovacic better suited for United and much cheaper. I could go with Kovacic. I like him. Harry says, posted this on the video the other day. People get it wrong when they talk about thieves. It's not Steve versus the car thief. It's Steve versus the neighbour. Just have to be less attractive. Yeah, I'm not going to cover that again today. Maybe we'll do that on another thingy, but you're right. It is, yeah. But ultimately, it is still you versus a car thief. Coach Con says, are we going to beat out City for Kovacic? You could do, genuinely. You actually could do. United could easily beat City for players if they wanted to. Because most of the players that City and United are going for will only probably be squad players at City, I believe. Bob says, Steve, could United's reluctance in the transfer window be a way of forcing more bids from potential owners by showing them they're missing out on potential targets? I don't think so. I genuinely don't think that's the case, no. I think that what's more likely is United are probably hamstrung by the budget. We probably need to move some people on before we can really, truly go for it. And also, as much as it does benefit the club to get the deals done early, it probably benefits the club to wait a little bit. And I think once the transfers start to move, like in a big way, you'll start to see things start happening all over the place. You got to remember, a lot of players are on holiday right now. A lot of players are on, or have just finished international duty because of those friendlies. By the way, why was there friendlies this week? Why? What was the point in having friendlies this week? Mentally, every single professional footballer that plays in Europe, at least, has mentally checked out in the last couple of weeks because the season is over. And then you've got to get them up to... It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous to be putting friendlies in at this time. Abhinav says, I don't think Ponytail Baldyface is very smart. He's a proper trust fund kid. Could be a bit of that. Notch says, what have I missed? Don't know. All sorts, potentially. Theo says, just like players who are professional, you just like players who are professional. Look at Kobe Bryant and Tiger Woods. Don't know what that means. Everyone loves professional players, surely. Red Lad says they were qualifiers. Fucking worthy. Macedonia and Malta were not going to be a fucking qualifying match for England, were they? And I don't give a shit if this sounds elitist in one way, because it's just factual. You know, there are teams that England are playing that wouldn't make it past pre-qualifying round 4 in the FA Cup, and they're being asked to play essentially Champions League sort of level teams. Why? Why not have a more graded system for them that allows people to do it? Do you know what I mean? Unlisted Lizard says, nailed it. We have to get people out. We just need to keep looking at moving Anthony, Marshall, Fred, Scott, and Harry. Then we can go get what we need. Anthony's going nowhere, mate. I don't know what makes you think that's going to happen. Who in the academy do I think can push through? I think Charlie McNeil's the one that's got the biggest opportunity. Was probably not going to have a recognised striker at the start of the tour, at least. He could really go and make an impact, and I hope he does. He could really make a great impact. Because there's not going to be any competition for him, and he will absolutely get minutes as long as he's not going out on loan somewhere. Jace Parker says, afternoon, Steve, reckon we'll have a second season Mourinho-esque window. Well, what gives you that evidence? Oh, sorry, what gives you that opinion? Oh, you mean the evidence of that's what happened to Louis, Jose, Ole? Yeah, you might be right. Could absolutely be the case, couldn't it? Anyways, school run time for me. Cheers for tuning in, you lot. Take it easy. Subscribe if you're new. Be back talking a lot of old bollocks tomorrow. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little... One sec. I just got to answer this question here. So, Patrick McCarran says, blocking the lower level teams from qualifying and guaranteeing qualifications for larger teams is a very Super League way of thinking, in my opinion. I'm not guaranteeing anyone's qualification. I'm just trying to make it a more level playing field. Like, there's a reason leagues exist in domestic football. There's a reason qualifying exists. And it's not necessarily to block out people from, it's not necessarily to guarantee people qualify. It's to make it a competitive game. Manchester United and teams that are in the Champions League are not going to have a competitive match against teams in the Northwest Counties 10 levels below them. They're just not. So things like the FA Cup are graded to the point where every round more teams come in. Now, that's a straight knockout competition. You can't necessarily replicate that if you're going to do something like a qualifiers for another tournament. So there has to be another way of coming into it. But also, there's teams that are qualifying that win no fucking games in qualification. It's not doing their development as a footballing nation any good whatsoever. It does England and the likes of England no good, the top 10 teams, and it does the teams that win no fucking games any good. And I know the Nations League kind of addresses that in a certain way, but there needs to be something else. There needs to be like a European or a World Cup version of the Europa League where other teams get the opportunity to compete. That's what they need. There's no fucking point, right? Can you imagine how disheartening it is being Malta and every game you're just going to lose and you might get a draw? Or San Marino. What is the fucking point? You know, imagine the FA Cup was in groups, and in Group A, you've got Manchester City, Stockport County, and then fucking Abbey A, FC United, and Duckingfield. what's the fucking point? Because that's the same thing that you're getting on an international stage. I'm not saying I've got a better way. I'm saying that way sucks. Right, I'm really going this time. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of